Alright, so today we got another Edge magazine, which I'll repeat later in this video for reasons you'll later see. And thankfully, Xanagir has posted the entire text of everything UFO 50 related within a Reddit post. So I'm just going to go through it really quick, and then I will also have a past recording of me reacting to all the images that we got, and also, I guess, my live reaction to some of these things that I already have seen at this point. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. So, yeah, as the marketing slogan for the LX system, the Laser X system, as they were once called, now UFO Soft in the more modern times, uh, the slogan is "Play Forever," which very, very ominous. But yeah, unsurprisingly, they suspect that we could in fact play forever. This is, you know, a compilation of 50 completely new fictional compilations from ages ago. Obviously, I don't need to give the spiel, but it's I definitely see myself playing this for hundreds, if not thousands of hours, honestly. I could see it being my next Binding of Isaac, next Spelunky, next whatever. But yeah, you should have plenty of time to get into it. And yeah, 50 games in the collection, and here they kind of tease us with something that will be mentioned later. They were given enough time to look at all 50 games, but not enough to get every cartridge golden, much less cherry red. Okay, and that, I'll get into that later, very shortly later. In fact, you could read it right here if you're crazy. But that does confirm something that I wasn't quite sure of. Haven't even touched multiplayer. I'm sure that will be interesting as well. Although it's a shame that it's all local, and so you're gonna have to use Steam Remote Play. But you do what you can do. Yeah, moving on. Gold. This is where the cartridge colors that they just mentioned are explained. Gold means you've gotten the credits. Simple enough. Which they are faux credits. They're not actual credits. They are a bunch of fictional names, which, as I mentioned later, once again, it's interesting how... I'm very curious as to how the names will be. Like, maybe there will be references to other games, or a bunch of overlaps in terms of, oh, this fictional dev made the puzzle games, or this fictional dev made the platformers, or whatever. Just a thought. But yeah, simple enough. If you get the credits, if you beat the base game, you get a gold icon. Makes sense. But then, you get the cherry red border, is what it sounds like from up here, for getting 100%, basically. Or, as they say in some examples, getting the platinum, completed all the bonus levels, scooped up the collectibles, whatever. Gone above and beyond. So, that is incredibly exciting. I'll leave my yapping for later about that, though. Better to start. Title focus of gifts, which gifts are effectively the achievements, which good to know that we will have them. I'm not surprised, but yes, gifts / achievements exist. I suppose back in the 80s they didn't really have achievements as much. I don't think so, at least. So makes sense that they wouldn't be called that. But yeah, let's see. 1 per game, challenging you to beat the first boss, the opening south roof levels, turn down a particular item. So, oh, I know what that's from. Cheat death 3 times. But yeah, so it seems like nothing terribly complicated for the achievements, but not just basics as in, oh, beat the game, or, it's not just the very boring stuff that you may see in some games, where it's just, oh, you did the thing that you have to do every time, and this time you get an achievement for it. So I like that. I think there's a lot of interesting things that could be done with it, and I think there might be some interesting things that are done with it. Yeah, Rakshasha, from Ghosts and Goblins. That's the spellcaster type game. I haven't heard about the resurrection thing, where if you die, if you survive a bullet hell, then congrats, you get to revive yourself. I do believe that was mentioned, though. I heard it was mentioned in the previous Edge magazine. Some info on Gulf area, nothing super new, but I do question if slicing is a pun. Like, maybe there is combat in this game? I don't know. It's just a thing that came to mind, though. Yeah, collecting club upgrades. Kind of what we heard before. Shoot a ball, win jammers. If you're free to cross the center line, have at your opponent. So, basically, Pong, but with special abilities, and you can, like, sabotage your opponent, I guess, with crossing the line and just straight up attacking them. Aviana's Hyper-Condense Civilization. Dinosaur Gods, kind of knew that, nothing really new there. Pancakes Pac-Man meets Micro Machines meets Splatoon. Yeah, sounds about right. All quite interesting. Shasha was the most interesting for me personally. Bushido Ball also pretty cool though. Remarkable how wide a range of games this team squeezed out of the LX hardware. Yeah, control of the 4 directions and 2 buttons. The 2 buttons thing always is like, ooh, I'm a little scared about that. Like, how would that play around? I'm not too worried, but it's just, it's threatening, you know? Nightmare is pointing click cursors to the D-pad. Hotfoot, grabbing and throwing all share a single button. That's not too bad. None of these sound too bad. Nightmare using the D-pad, it might be a little annoying, honestly, but I doubt it will be that bad either. But yeah, interest in depth as much as it is breadth, exactly. More often, it's just a charming folly, puzzle. So I can't believe it's real. Yeah, it's shocking how real it is becoming with every passing day, because we are less than 2 weeks out at this point. I'm going to try to get this up on the 5th, same day that it released, just so more people can get informed as soon as possible. But yeah, we'll see. Since carries even the weaker entries in the LX canon, since inevitably such a collection not going to be created equal. It's possible we get in Peck or Magic Garden, but after a dozen attempts apiece, they remain the games that initially seemed respectively a straightforward run-and-gun platform without any notable Shasha-style twist, and Snake, pretty much verbatim. Except you have an ineffectual hop. That's a shame for Magic Garden. I thought they were, I mean, you know, as they say, maybe they just didn't play it enough, but, you know, Ninpeck just being a run-and-gun platformer, maybe in terms of, you know, the user experience, not going to be super fun for us, but, or as fun at least as other things maybe, but it does make sense chronologically within the universe, honestly. Like, oh, they start with this run and gun, and then later on they kind of evolve upon it. Not terribly out of the realm of plausibility. Magic Garden, though, I hope they missed something, because I would like that to be a more exciting one. Regardless, moving on, still valuing their inclusion, not just in helping it hit the nice round number. Yeah, I think those are just kind of nice because they're simple. That's going to be my guess, because they definitely tried to include a lot of micro mini-game type things. Not literal mini-games, but simpler titles, not ever-expanding worlds and whatnot that are practically infinite playability. So, I can understand that. And then here we get some detail on Bug Hunter. I go over this later, so it's not, I'm going to kind of skip past a lot of this. But in general, it's just describing how you actually play the game, which is new information, as well as some detail on the cubes, energy cubes, which all interesting. You can read it here. Link will be in the description once again. Not once again, I haven't said it yet. You'll have constantly weighing up how to use your current crop. Snookering, that's a new one. One of a few delightful board games, yeah, because we have a few. Avianos is another one of the board game types. I'd argue a Tactics is also one that we see later in the collection. You start by praying to one of 6 gods, with each following its own defined list of 3 actions. I'm very interested in Avianos, because I wonder if the gods kind of just change your playstyle entirely. I mean, they probably would regardless, but Like, literally, do they change how you have to play the game to some degree, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. Party House, brilliant social dynamic spin on the deck builder. Yeah, it kind of seemed like it was a deck builder type game from what we've seen. And yeah, some contribute money, some are fun, but might get the cops called. And Cribble Race mentioned, yippee, cheaty gambling. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a simple title, Cribble Race, in comparison. Just kind of, you know, exploiting the system and probably winning fairly easily. But no, seems like it's gonna be fun still. Two other clumps of game to your finest moments. Puzzle platformers like Mortal. Two takes on the same concept. A number of lives sacrificed soldiers, which I believe that is, yeah, that's Mortal 2 with the special moves that can only be used for sacrificing them. And yeah, the original is simpler if I'm not mistaken. So close to the quantity of games on the spectrum between Zelda and Metroid adventures in which you explore space. Yeah, there is. I'm very excited for all of those, all of the adventure types, Metroid inspired or otherwise. There's a lot of them, and I'm incredibly excited. Mabuda considers Demon Souls' place in this lineage, then strips back the game right back to brutal minimalism. I feel like maybe they're just not as observant as I am, honestly. Watch my Mabuda video and you'll be set, no worries. Maybe, I don't know. There's a good chance, I'm guessing, that there's going to be some time limit type thing, because that was hinted at, certainly, with the Ghost Skull. But we also saw in that now deleted Paul Huben TikTok that there's a specific rumor it just spawns in. So I don't know if it's going to be like Ghost from Spelunky. It might not. If there's no time sensitive stuff, then you can just study the rooms. Just be observant and you will be fine. I think that's really how it'll go. Pogi puts a rather friendly face on things. Pogi looks exciting. The lie caught out of her death. Yeah, I feel like it might be a bit frightening in certain circumstances. Minion Max could have easily been released as a standalone, which I've heard as well. Immediate obvious as you realize the game space isn't limited to a single room. Then you shrink and its everyday contents. Yeah. Even a portrait of a strange man. That one's very intriguing. That almost sounds like an Easter egg type thing. I don't know. But yeah, Minion Max. That's probably the platformer I'm excited for the most. I think Barbuda is arguably like almost a puzzle game / platformer, but Minion Max just seems like a raw platformer. It sounds really fun, and I'm excited for that one. Many of the games introduce the narrative cutscene. Yes, I mentioned this later. Combatants has one that they show off briefly. Pilot Quest, we got that. We saw that in the Day of the Devs. So it's all interesting. One of the bigger games nested within is Grimstone, a robust JRPG where your four-person party is picked at the outset. Yeah, the dog, naturally. Very excited for Grimstone, mentioned that many times. Valbrace's combat is simple enough to be convincingly of its purported era, but in the rhythms of its strafing and blocking, yeah, everyone's gonna be excited for Valbrace, I guarantee that. 20 sprites of Fistel are a particular treat. It does look nice, even if I'm not excited for Fistel. Yes, Pilot Quest splices Link to the past dungeons with a bit of Stardew and a bunch of idle game DNA. Another one that I made a video on. Very excited for that one. This line does make me question if there is going to be some, like, you know, some idle progression when you aren't playing the game. If so, wow, that's very advanced for the time. But we'll see. Everybody sticks to the dungeon. I'm very interested in the magic system. And especially now that I've read the next few words, you have to draw out summoning glyphs. That is ripe for Easter eggs. there is going to be some secret spell in there. I am 100% certain. I bet $0 on it because I don't feel like being able to transfer it to anyone. But I guarantee it. I guarantee it. It's a bit of acquisitive adventuring. We found a Night Manos missing link between point and click and survival horror. Try to escape a fungaloid. Ooh. It's surprisingly chilling to see it borrowed from our Wii Hours sessions. Interesting. Alright, well maybe it is more scary than I once thought. I figured it was going to be more of a clock tower type thing where it's, you know, kind of not that scary, frankly. But it is still purported to be a horror game, at the very least. I don't know. Regardless, we'll see. It's easy to get caught up in these component parts since there are so many. But yes, the whole connectivity, which is quite the interesting part to me as well. Despite the reported ages, they do not require any memory of the 80s. Classical canon, modern influences, and certain old school attitude, aka being unforgiving, I imagine. I do hope there's still checkpoints and stuff, like you can save your game. That would be nice. But we'll see, I suppose. But yeah, well, and this quote, kick to a game over is such speeds, it's a lesson to an arcade. Yeah, I expect some of these games to be like this. Like, I expect them to at least have save points, like, or not save points, but you can save your game so you don't have to play it all in one session if you're still alive. Like in Barbuda, perhaps you can save if you're deep into the dungeon, but you haven't died, like you haven't lost all your lives. But if you do, then that's gone. It's not a permanent save that you can come back to. So that's my guess. I don't know. I definitely expect the RPGs to have fully fleshed out saving systems in comparison to that, but regardless. When it comes to tutorials, supposed controls, 6% for accompanying manuals, and paper business crowd by the likes of Barbuda, which has a sketching and annotated homemade map. I want to do it, even if just for fun, I think. But I do suspect it honestly will be helpful, because I'm guessing you're going to find some items at certain points, and you're going to be like, and you're going to die, and you're going to be like, okay, where is this? Let me go find it again. Oh, I have my map right here that I do. Great. And it's just a grid, so you can pretty easily get it labeled from that. But yeah, moving on. Narrative is never front and center, but its existence helps contextualize even the weaker entries. Bounce off Campanella 3 as a game, for example, you can't help but appreciate how its into-the-screen photo 3D is exactly the kind of showy tech demo experiment developed like this would have been for the third installment. I'm very interested in Campanella 3 in general. It sounded like they weren't super into it, based on them saying they bounced off of it. But yeah, that was kind of how it was striking me. Like, even if it's not a fully fleshed out, like, super big game in comparison to 2 and 1, I do think it very much makes sense within the universe. There's a neat little presentational flourishes too, such as using those achievements are called gifts. Neighboring the normal library view is a kind of digital doghouse, popular trophy items for each task completed. So that is why they're gifts. You aren't just getting an achievement, you're getting a physical item you can look at, even if it's not necessarily, like, you know, important. But then, this part, very interesting, and I go over it later, but it's not the only thing, not the only playable extra linking up your playable extra, rather. That's what part, sorry, flow of the sentence. It's not the only playable extra linking up your cross-library activities, which is very interesting. And when I heard about the overarching narrative and menu and whatnot, that was something that I was thinking of, like, is there going to be some maybe a secret game amongst the, the menus somewhere. I don't know. And it sounds like there's something. I don't know how much, but there's gonna be something, and that is incredibly exciting. But yeah, needless to say, they love it. 9 out of 10, fantastic. This gives me even more hope and love and excitement and hype for this game, and I'm so excited to see it. And I'm going to pass this over to the old me, who did a live reaction to a lot less of this, but some of it, and more importantly, some images that you will see first and foremost. So, passing it over to old me. Okay, one last UFO 50 video before the game actually comes out in less than 2 weeks at this point. So, we got another Edge magazine. It's actually got a review for the entire game, so that's big as is, but I'll save that particular thing to the end. But we also got a bunch of news about the game itself, so let's go over it really quick. Obviously, first up, we have some images of various games. Obviously, Seaside Drive on the left. Looks like fighting a blimp or something. I'm not really sure, some kind of airship. Could be a UFO, but I doubt it, honestly. It doesn't really look like one, especially with those windows. I don't know, though. Either way, looks like Seaside Drive looks like a solid shmup of sorts. Combatants on the right, and it specifically says that under that, many of the games are introduced with a narrative cutscene, which, whatever besides that. Point is, this is a part of a cutscene right at the start of the game, presumably, which I do believe we've seen for Pilot Quest as well in the Day of the Dev stream. So, now we know where these come from. I'm not surprised that more games than just Pilot Quest have that, but good to see it official. Then we have a Fistel screenshot. I don't really see too much of big note here, honestly, but there is some UFO graffiti, which is funny, I guess. And I guess. I don't know. There's not too much here. I'm not super excited for Fistel, so maybe I'm ignoring something that I shouldn't be, but I don't know. I'm not seeing much regardless. Then this Grimstone screenshot is just, it got me reinvigorated in my hype for specifically Grimstone on top of the entire game. The pixel art is just gorgeous. I mean, look at this game. It looks so good. Also, I think it's really interesting that they added shading. Like, that's pretty advanced for an old console to do. Fictional, obviously, but still. The sprite work is just fantastic. I don't know what this is from. Probably pretty early on. In fact, if I were to guess, this burnt-up building is where you start the game in that opening screenshot that we've seen plenty of times, maybe. Or maybe you haven't. And then these are just the various surrounding areas, little graveyard. I wonder if the well is going to have something in it. Either way, looks fantastic. Grimstone looks fantastic. I'm so excited for Grimstone. Alright, and Valbrace as the last screenshot, if I'm not mistaken. Skeleton monster. Looks kinda like a bit of a boss type, maybe a mini boss, or at least a step up in terms of strength, I don't know. Clearly you've gotten some equipment by now. I mean, we don't know too much about the combat. Well, more so, we don't know too much about the HUD and stuff, so we don't have a lot of details in that tone. I don't know what the essence is for, probably spells. How do you cast the spells? I don't know, but, that's that. Either way, looks good. Everyone knows Valbrace looks good. Everyone's excited for Valbrace. I think it's going to be one of the big games in the collection that people are like, this in particular, fantastic. Alright, and now some actual text, so let's read. Bug Hunter getting a actual explanation of how it works. That's the first big thing. Obviously, second game in the chronology looks basic, but it's actually a tactics game, which we kind of suspected. Specifically, they say you get 7 fixed actions. You can combine the directional patterns of movement and attack, and some special abilities, and they can be swapped out in the middle of play by buying new ones with energy cubes picked up around the map. So, yeah, it sounds like a very interesting resource management / just moving optimally type game. It definitely seems like it will be something that is that you can definitely get the hang of and do reliably, but I do think there's going to be quite a learning curve for this game. Either way, getting an actual description of how it works, very nice. I'm also curious, they say the cubes make for volatile currency, though, since shooting will cause an explosion. So, I'm wondering if shooting itself just causes the explosion, because that's kind of what it sounds like, and maybe that would destroy the cube or something, or maybe the cubes are used to shoot, or maybe shooting the cubes explode them. I don't know. I don't know. I don't quite understand that, but, you know, it's less than 2 weeks away, don't forget that, so we'll find out soon enough. Alright, and then the more out-of-game stuff, but still within UFO 50, they specifically note that there's some neat little presentational flourishes, as they say, which are quite intriguing as well, but there's something even more intriguing that I'm saving for almost last. Some achievement challenges called gifts, which I can only assume are basically just the achievements. You know, maybe they will have Steam achievements, but at the very least, the collection itself will have achievements within it. So, yeah, as they say, instead of just being on the library view, you can also switch to the trophy room dollhouse thing, whatever, I don't know. I've only skimmed through the text this time around. Yeah, neighboring the normal library view, populated trophy items. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. Just at a base level that we're getting achievements. You know, I love to see that. Everyone loves achievements. You know, the completionist in me, everyone loves that. But moreover, they say it's not only playable extra linking up to your cross-library activities. I'm struggling to understand what that means, but I assume that's just the basic, like, you're playing the game or whatever. But they don't say what else could be in there, so I believe there's going to be some out-of-game stuff that that we're going to find out about. I think there's going to be a lot more development on that front than is really shown thus far, which I've always kind of speculated and hoped would be the case. But it's quite interesting to see it practically confirmed, in my opinion. I don't know. Regardless, this is exciting for me. But up next is even more exciting for me. So, when you beat the games, you get a new look on the cartridge. Simple enough, right? Gold means you've gotten credits. That's fantastic, amazing. But moreover, and also, the names that feature are all made up. So that's interesting. I was wondering, like, are they going to have actual credits for who specifically worked on this? I figured not, because it kind of was bound to be just everyone, and it's going to be the same 5 to 6 people. So, you know, make of it what you will in that case, but I do like that they're doing fake names in the credits. That is very, very funny, and I'm interested to see how they'll overlap and if there will be any fun Easter eggs in there. But regardless, gold means you've gotten credits. Fantastic. You've beaten the game. You've gotten an ending. But then, cherries, which I'm guessing is just a little thing, little symbol placed upon the cartridge. If you've basically platinumed them, as they say. It shows that you've gotten all the collectibles, beaten all the bonus levels, you know, just done everything, done all the stuff. All the optional side content that you may not need to do to win. So that is extremely exciting for me. I absolutely love 100%ing and being able to just see, like, oh, I've done it, oh, I haven't. Fantastic. I am so happy to see that. It's going to be such a great hit of dopamine. This has upped my hype for UFO 50 significantly, along with the last one about some interesting out-of-game content as well as just raw achievements. So, yeah, very exciting. And last but not least, at least for things that I have a screenshot of, I might have something else that I want to bring up at the end, is just a straight up review. The first review for UFO 50. Basically, and I'll just read it out in full. The result, though, is feeling that every advance, however minor, is pushing towards some overall total, in a way strangely akin to a Ubisoft's completion percentage. In fact, that's how we come to think of this library, as a kind of flattened out open world, many diversions not hidden over the horizon, but constantly within reach. Just as in Assassin's Creed or Far Cry, each activity is enlivened by the knowledge that you have chosen to do it right now, out of the many alternative options available in every other direction. So, when one does hold your undivided attention for an extended span, it must be something special indeed. And of those, UFO 50 has more than its fair share. Fantastic review. I believe it was given a 9 out of 10 by Edge, because that's, I don't know if I mentioned that, but that's what this is from. Also, that 9 is just a graphical, layout glitch, basically. So, fantastic review. I was betting on a 9 out of 10 in general. Like, I believe someone on the Discord for UFO 50 asked, like, oh, what do you think IGN is going to give it? And I was like, it's like a 9. I don't want to bet on a 10 necessarily, because if anything isn't perfect, then I don't really expect a 10 from IGN regardless. Oh yeah, right. And Glove, who is a major UFO 50 person, I don't have a screenshot of this right now, but he said it on the Discord. You can find it pretty easily. The first line of the review, they mentioned that the UFO soft slogan is "Play Forever," which is ominous and sounds about right. So that's really about it from this magazine. Fantastic to get one last little dose of UFO 50 news before it all drops. Very exciting. And I will see you probably on launch day, unless something amazing comes out between now and then.